Hi everyone, and welcome to the House of Meditation in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Happy Hanamatsuri. We're going to begin today's service with the traditional blessing of the grounds. patron John Titan Stultz. We honor all those that have crossed over and remain ever present with us all. We honor the patron of the Holy Order of the Dragonfly, Christine Nito. Come Jesus. Come Jesus. We give thanks and honor for this community. May it always be blessed. Welcome everyone to our 22nd annual Hanamatsuri here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We are now going to begin the service with the special recognitions that we do at this time of year. As I go along, I will explain some things that we're doing, and other things it serves better if we just honor the process. But when you make your own offering at home, there'll be a space and time for that. If you haven't done this offering before, it is the ceremony, or the water ceremony, called Senrei. And what you will do when you bow and enter your space, you will take a cup or a spoon. We use a seashell. And then you will put the seashell in the water, and we use an egg as our centering object, and that's what we suggest to our folks. And you take 3 asperging sprinkles of water, and then you bow and return. So welcome officially to Hanamatsuri. So our first recognition today is of someone who in our community has shown that they are living out the way of the Bodhisattva. Now, sometimes those are folks from within our own Buddhist community, and many times this award is given out to anyone in the larger society that we believe is living a life for others. I'm very happy to say today that the board has chosen one of our own this year, and his name is Matthew Sienkiewicz. Matthew is an Osho, or full priest in our order. He will receive the John A. Stultz Compassion in Action Award in person, hopefully during Obon at the end of August. but we wanted to honor him and give thanks for him. Thank you, Matthew. The next recognition we would like to do, as many of you may know, since 2000, we have had a seminary training program for those who feel called to serve others as an ordained minister in the Buddhist Sangha. And usually, at this point, we will have the new seminarians sign the big book of matriculation. But today I'm just going to honor our two newest seminarians, and as I said in Oban, we'll do that in person. So I'd like to officially welcome Michael Travisano and Colleen Lopez. May you read, mark, and inwardly digest all the knowledge that you receive. Thank you. Next, we will begin the sacred rite of affirmation. So if you have trained to do the precepts, or you've already taken the precepts to become a member of our community, I would encourage you to join us now. So I'm going to ask, we're going to all read this together so you feel like you are all connected. Do you have your copy of the liturgy there? I'm blessed to have my beautiful family, my wife, my son Evan, and his companion Melanie. If you would stand. Blessed be the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
Blessed be the precious grace of light and life.
Peace be with you.
And also with you.
I now present the candidates. I know two of the folks that officially are joining us today are Haley and Haley, I imagine that you're out there. And we have Frank, we have Paul, and there may be others that I'm not aware of that have taken the precepts before that are joined with us today, but I want to honor all of you. And as I said, if you live in this area, those who wanted to take the precepts, we're doing the ceremony today, so you are officially welcome. And we will also do this again at Oban so that you can do it in person. If you would read the Osho part.
Yeah.
I present.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Do you take refuge in the...
No, I'm sorry. Just do you present? The candidates may now be presented.
Okay. I present these persons for affirmation.
We will now take the vows. Do you take refuge in the Buddha nature, the spiritual power of wisdom and compassion? I do. Do you take refuge in the Dharma, the teachings of wisdom? I do. Do you take refuge in the Sangha, the community of the compassionate? I do. Are you willing to take the precepts of our Sangha?
I am.
Will you persevere in mindfulness, and whenever you fall into delusion, stop and return to clarity? I will with the Sangha's help. Will you proclaim by word and example the Dharma? I will with the Sangha's help. Will you seek the liberation of all beings, bearing witness to the wisdom and compassion of the Buddha nature? I will with the Sangha's help. Will you fulfill the precepts by seeking accord and harmony, and respect the dignity of all beings. I will with the Sangha's help. Will you who witness these vows do all in your power to support these persons in their journey? We will. Let us join with those who are committing themselves to the three treasures and renew our own vows. I allow my true self to manifest in all aspects of life. I take complete responsibility for my own life and all of my actions. I affirm my personal being and acknowledge it as a path to awakening and freedom. I embrace all aspects of my personal being, including my shadow, so that they may be transformed. I affirm an attitude of openness to my true self, even in the midst of suffering. So at this point, I just want to welcome all of you, those that I've mentioned, those that I have not mentioned. I know that some of you wanted to do the Precepts Retreat this past weekend. We're unable to do that. It has been recorded, and we will make sure that you get that so that you can study and then set up a time to meet with me one-on-one. But for all of you out there, I want to welcome you officially to our Sangha. I give great thanks for all of you. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. When sentient beings receive the Shila, the precepts, they enter the realm of the Buddhas, which is none other than the great enlightenment. Truly, they are the family of the awakened. Traditionally, this is the time where we would ordain a new shuzo, or servant priest. We have two levels that our clergy go through in their training. Three, actually. First is a postulant, and the novitiate, and then they become a shuzo. The shuzo ordination is the first stage in the process to full ordination. The shuzo is represented by the patron Ananda, who is the Buddha's companion, and who always symbolizes our service to the world, to help free suffering among all beings. The next stage in that process is the Osho, and the patron of that level is Kashyapa, where we are given the task to maintain the Dharma for all future generations. So this is the time we would typically renew our vows. So for the clergy that are with us online, I would simply ask you this vow. Do you renew your vows and continue to seek the Buddha and all of creation with both wisdom and compassion? Do you renew your vows, Osho Evan? Blessings upon all of you and your ministry. We will now begin with the liturgy of the day. Peace be with all of you.
And also with you.
Let us take refuge. I take refuge in the ground of being, within which I live and move and breathe. Let us make the accord. I take sanctuary in the heart of being, accepting all of my delusions in thought, word, or deed, born of ignorance, hatred, and greed. Let us give thanks. I give thanks for all things, awakening to the interbeing of all nature. I give thanks for my ancestors, especially Christine Ito Stultz, who share with me the living way. I give thanks for the bounty of this life, especially this holy day, and of all those present. realizing that I am intimately known in the mystery of the breath. I pray now for all who suffer, especially those who are near to us and those who are far away, those who are known to us and those who remain unknown, that they may be free, realizing that my invocation is perceived and subtly answered. May my heart be open and my mind clear. May all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and may all come to know that peace which is beyond all understanding. Since it is the practice of enlightenment, that practice has no beginning. And since it is enlightenment within the practice, that realization has no end. So, as many of you know, Hanamatsuri is the day that we celebrate the birth of the Buddha Shakyamuni. You can be seated. We use the life and lore, the myths and legend of the Buddha Shakyamuni as an outline for our year. And so special events in his life become great mythic events in our lives through the observance of our liturgical calendar. Now, the Japanese word for this celebration is Hanamatsuri. And this is an ancient celebration that goes back nearly 3,000 years. Now, Hanamatsuri literally means flower ceremony. And people often ask me, why is that? So there's three reasons for this. And as you may have noticed, my beautiful wife offered flowers as I walked into the temple. And usually that's done by children in the Sangha. And the use of the image of flowers is something that's related to the mythic story of the birth of the Buddha. Now, according to the mythos, which we don't take literally, but we take it symbolically, so that those mythic truths might actualize spiritual realities within us. According to the lore, the Buddha's mother, Maya, had a dream of a great white elephant with 6 tusks. Now, in the Indian culture, an elephant is a symbol of great prosperity, great joy, and great wisdom. The 6 tusks can represent the 6 paramitas that we talked about a couple of weeks ago in our Monday night service. Those 6 ways of expressing oneness. And it is said that she became pregnant and she made her way to Lumbini Garden, which was a beautiful flower garden, and she gave birth to the Buddha. Now, according to the story, when the Buddha was born, he was able to stand upright. And he pointed one hand up and one below, with earth as his witness, pointing his other hand to the sky and heaven. He walked out into the 4 directions, completing 7 steps, and he said, "With my earth, the earth is my witness, and heaven above, and in all the universe, I am the liberator of all beings." So that's what the baby said when he was born. And it's also said that whenever he stepped in those 4 directions and making those 7 steps, that a lotus flower bloomed from each of his steps. So it's beautiful imagery. And what does it mean? Well, I think it connects to the story of how Buddhism came from China through Korea into Japan around the early part of the 7th century. And Hanamatsuri was already a practice that was being done in Japan. And it was called the Flower Blossom Festival. And it was done in the spring of the year, and it was believed that by making offerings and praying for the blossoms to last long, that there would be wonderful crops and very fertile fields, and there would be a wonderful harvest in the fall. So when the Buddhists came in, as they were wont to do, they don't come in to overthrow anything, but rather to join and to help expand what is already present. And so Hanamatsuri was connected by them to the celebration of the birth of the Buddha. The flower that is particularly used is the hydrangea. Now the hydrangea flower, and ours haven't flowered yet. We do have them out here. My wife made that gift to me some years ago. But if you see the Buddha Hote's head here, he's wearing one of the hydrangea flowers as a little hat. So that's our recognition of it. And this hydrangea flower is a beautiful flower that actually goes back to the time of the dinosaurs. So somewhere around 65 to 70 million years ago, when T-Rexes were making their ways through the forest, there were hydrangea at their feet. That's kind of some cosmic perspective for you today. The hydrangea flower itself, if you've ever noticed, is sort of like looks sort of round. And the flowers are usually white or purple, sometimes red. And the hydrangea was chosen as a symbol of the birth of the Buddha because the hydrangea actually, it was believed by Japanese to look like a heart. And the main teaching that we get in this celebration, this day, is the recognition that all of us are born with Buddha nature. In other words, when an infant or a new person is brought into our community, when an infant is born, we recognize in our rite of naming and blessing, we recognize in that baptism their original blessing. That within the human breast is the capacity to do great good and unfortunately sometimes great evil. Our call as a community is to recognize the Buddha nature within all beings, and especially when we do a baby blessing within that child. And our calling is to nurture the heart of that child so that their Buddha nature may be manifest, their true self may be manifest in all aspects of their life. That is our responsibility and our calling to those who are brought into the Sangha. And we actually do the same thing with our water ceremony. We are baptizing and recognizing that Buddha nature, that original blessing within all of us. Now, some people ask me, why do we use an egg? Because in many parts of the world, they will use a baby Buddha. And I like the symbol of an egg because, as most of you know, one of the callings I have is to make the Dharma fully a part of the American grain. And so we have our practice of Easter in the spring. And I don't necessarily mean the religious observation, which I honor, but the observation that we might call secular, with lots of candy and Easter baskets and Easter eggs and that bunny we all know. So we decided as a community, the elders in our order, to use the egg as our symbol of rebirth and our symbol of Buddha nature. So when you baptize your egg with water, think of that. Think of the idea as when we are born, that within all of us is that embryo of Buddha nature, the Tathagata Garbha, And as we grow and we learn and we are nurtured, that embryo grows into a full spiritual being, our truest self. So I hope you will remember that. I hope this was useful to you. And that's the Hanamatsuri homily for today. The moment we receive true and trusting, solid and clear like a diamond, infinite light and life embrace and protect us, liberating us completely. Let us recite together the 4 immeasurable vows. Sentient beings are numberless, I vow to liberate them. Delusions are endless, I vow to end them. The ways of compassion and wisdom are boundless, I vow to embody them. The way is unattainable, I vow to attain it. Let us recite together the way. Our aspiration, our calling, our desire for a genuine life is to see the truth of who we really are, that the nature of our being is connectedness and love, not the illusion of a separate self to which our suffering clings. It is from this awareness that life can flow through us, the unconditioned manifesting freely as our conditioned body. And what is the path? To learn to reside in whatever life presents, to learn to attend to all those things that block the flow of a more open life, and to see them as the very path to awakening. All the constructs, the identities, the holding back, the protections, all the fears, the self-judgments, the blame, all that separates us from letting life be. And what is the path? To turn away from constantly seeking comfort and from trying to avoid pain, to open to the willingness to just be in this very moment, exactly as it is. No longer so ready to be caught in the relentlessly spinning mind, Practice is about awakening to the true self. No one special to be, nowhere to go, just being. We are so much more than just this body and just this personal drama. As we cling to fear and our shame and our suffering, we forsake the gratitude of living from our natural being. So where in this very moment do we cling to our views? Softening around the mind's incessant judgment, we can awaken the heart that seeks to be awakened. And when the veil of separation rises, life simply unfolds as it will. No longer caught in the self-centered dream, we can give ourselves to others. Time is fleeting. Do not hold back. Appreciate this precious life. Osho Evan, would you read the first 3 paragraphs?
Respectfully, we come before the altar of the holy harmonious oneness. With gratitude, we have brought our offering and oblations of love and devotion to honor the Buddha nature. We earnestly resolve to strive to understand the noble teaching and to walk every day in the blessed path. Walking in the way, may we attain the peace and liberation of nirvana. May the wisdom of the all-compassionate true nature so shine within our hearts and minds that the mists of error and delusion be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and reach spiritual integrity. We pledge our loyalty and devotion. We consecrate our lives to the way of the Bodhisattva, to live fully, to love freely, and to offer ourselves completely. We resolve to follow the example of the sacred sage Shakyamuni and labor earnestly for the welfare of all beings.
The unborn, eternal, and sky-like true nature surrounds all beings with infinite love and light, particularly sending forth loving energy to those in suffering and sorrow, to all those in doubt and ignorance, to all those who are striving to attain truth, and to those whose feet are standing close to the great change called death. And they rest in the everlasting embrace of wisdom, mercy, and love. We now begin the liturgy of the eternal springtime. Blessed are you, holy mindfulness. In you we live and move and have our very being. You are mother, father, teacher, and friend. You draw us forth, luring us into that wholeness which is nirvana. We give thanks to you for Shakyamuni the Buddha, who shows us the way through his life, his journey into darkness, and his awakening. From the womb of Maya came forth the body of the enlightened one. At his birth the sky opened up, showering down a gentle rain like blossoms of flowers, which fell as a garland all about him. Like a grown adult, the infant stood, taking 7 steps, from which each footprint a lotus arose. He moved into the 4 directions and then returned to the center. Then with his right hand he pointed to the heavens, and with his left hand he pointed to the earth and declared, "Behold, in heaven above and earth below, I am the honored one. I shall dispel the suffering that fills all the worlds." Let us recite together the largest sutra of the true country of infinite light and life. The awakened one proclaims through all these surpassing vows, supreme enlightenment I will attain. If the uncounted ages pass, and I have not become the great providence, a source of comfort to all in affliction, may I not reach the highest realization. having freed myself from delusions, living in the purest mindfulness and wisdom, I will seek the highest realization and guide all the beings of all the worlds. The Buddha's transcendental light will illuminate the countless lands, dissolving the roots of ignorance and deliver from danger all beings. When the eye of wisdom is opened, the darkness of the world shall disappear. The gates of evil will be closed, and the portals of benevolence will open wide. Having attained the highest realization, my light will illuminate all realms, outshining the lights of the sun and moon, as well as the lights of all heavens. The Dharma I will teach to all beings, my virtues will be as a treasure to them. Amidst the multitudes, I will proclaim the Dharma with the roar of the lion. Having revered the Buddhas of all ages, I will attain boundless virtue. Fulfilling all the vows I have proclaimed, I will become the guide to the threefold world. Like the endless knowledge of the Buddha, so too shall my wisdom light shine everywhere. May the power of my knowledge be as that of the supremely honored one. If these vows are totally fulfilled, may the great thousand worlds all tremble, and may hosts of heavenly beings shower rare and wondrous blossoms on us all. The worlds did tremble, and the heavens showered forth flowers, announcing the eternal springtime. We dedicate this celebration to all the myriad worlds, for long as space endures and time remains. May we devote ourselves to the liberation of all beings.
Bless it.
Let us rejoice in the birth of the Buddha within us all. We will now make the Senrei offering, and while we do this, we shall chant the Heart Sutra. Please follow along. Join me as you will. Actually, Gate, gate, pedagate, gate, gate, Bodhiso, gate, gate, pedagate, Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, 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 Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, 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 Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, 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 Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, 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 Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, 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 Bodhiswa. Gate, gate, Hera gate, Hera Sangate Bodhiswa. Hera Sangate all the clergy would join me in this recitation. Let us depart in peace, and may we all be instruments of the Dharma. And the people said,
So may it be.
So may it be. I want to thank everyone again for joining us on this beautiful and holy day. I pray for blessings as you move forward